The Wednesday Night Wars are officially over. They went on for about almost 2 years at this point. AEW versus NXT. And frankly, I can say that it was fun while it lasted, but I am so happy, so thrilled that it finally ended because you, as a wrestling fan, don't have to choose and have to be surfing channels and switching channels each and every Wednesday night to catch some great shows in both Dynamite and NXT. Because the one saving grace out of these, 70 weeks, possibly, give or take a few weeks, that AEW went head-to-head with NXT for viewership, there were a lot of great moments that both companies, great moments, great matches, everything that both companies put on for both shows on Wednesday nights that a lot of wrestling fans missed. And I am just thrilled that you don't have to choose anymore. Because now, if we take a look at the viewership, we can analyze, at least on a surface value, why it's so important that these two companies just called it quits in terms of going head to head, in terms of going to war with each other, which frankly, it was WWE starting this war against Dynamite. Because back in July of 2019, AEW announced a partnership with TNT. They signed a contract. They announced Dynamite. And that they were going to launch on Wednesday, October 2nd. Now, obviously, it wasn't exactly July that they announced all of that, but there were steps taken for that moment. And then in August, WWE announced that they were pulling one of their most popular shows off of the WWE network. One of the values at that time that the WWE network had was that if you wanted to watch the alternative, if you wanted to watch the third brand, if you wanted to watch developmental in NXT, you had to sign up for the WWE network because you couldn't find it anywhere else. And now, back in August of 2019, WWE was telling you as a fan that we're pulling it from the WWE network. It's still going to be available the next day, the next night. It's still going to be available on the WWE network. But now, you're going to have to watch it live every Wednesday night on the USA network. And while to the mainstream fan, that might seem like run of the mill, they've got more programming on the USA network, on cable television. How does this differ from Main Event or Superstars back in the day where they had those shows on other networks? How does that differ? As the mainstream fan, that's how you understand it. But as a part of the internet wrestling community, you damn well knew that this was WWE's response and counter-programming to AEW's Dynamite on TNT. They were prepping to try and be this roadblock in AEW's journey to try to establish itself first as a company and then as an alternative to the machine that is WWE. So even then, even before the very first episodes of Dynamite went head to head with NXT, even then, WWE declared war on AEW. And if you look at the viewership, even though NXT won the very last head-to-head, poetic justice, apparently, or funny to think of it in that manner. But yes, NXT won that one last time, but overall they won that battle. But overall, AEW won that war. October 2nd, 2019. Dynamite averaged 1.409 million viewers on TNT. A home run of an episode. I believe Jon Moxley made his return to AEW on that night. I may be mistaken about that. Sorry, it's been almost 2 years. Finn Balor made his return to NXT on the very first 2-hour broadcast of NXT on the USA Network. So right then and there you had big moment here, big moment there. NXT averaged about 891,000 viewers for that night on the USA Network, which, to think about it, wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, because the previous 2 weeks when they were unopposed by Dynamite, they averaged 1.179 million viewers and 1.006 million viewers. So again, their viewership went down as soon as Dynamite hit TNT. Then we have to fast forward to the last time they went head-to-head, and like I said, Dynamite lost that battle for the very first time. I believe they lost it. I may be mistaken. There's a lot of numbers involved. Never was really good at complicated math, which this is. But NXT won that 768,000 to 688,000. And then the very first week that they were unopposed, you could see the difference, because Dynamite averaged 1.219 million viewers, and NXT, they went up to 805,000 viewers. And that's where they're going to be sticking around for the next few weeks, for the next few months. But again, the Wednesday Night Wars are over. We don't have to choose. And I'm going to go over first 3 things that each company did that caused them to lose viewers and possibly lose this the Wednesday Night Wars themselves. And then I'm going to go over 3 things that each company, each show should be looking at in terms of trying to reestablish themselves as their own specific brands without needing to worry about having to go head-to-head and be in a war each and every single week. So, Dynamite. Why did Dynamite lose viewership? Why did Dynamite not keep that viewership of over 1 billion viewers week in and week out? And all I can say is, yes, having NXT go against it played a part, a very big part, in both companies not achieving the viewership goals that they had intended for themselves. But the fact is, AEW was too new of a product, of a company, of talent to go head-to-head with the machine. You cannot go against the machine and expect to not be murdered or slaughtered most of the time. That's just how it works. You're that damn new. I mean, I can open up an amusement park right here, right now, tomorrow night, and I might get 1, 2, 3 people. So I'm not gonna get anywhere near what Disneyland is getting. They're the value, they're the machine, they're the mainstream, and that's something that hurt AEW overall in the past almost 2 years that they've been a part of the current wrestling landscape. Then we also have to consider, again, we have to go back to the unknown names. Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, The Best Friends, SCU. These are all unknown names to the mainstream media, to the mainstream audience. They don't know who they are. We, as the IWC, we know who they are. We understand that. We know they are freaking great professional wrestlers. They are entertainers. They are everything a wrestling company needs to build around and just look towards the future. But as a mainstream audience, if I'm looking at these guys, it's going to take me weeks, months, maybe even years, depending on the average viewer, to get used to these names and to actually support them, again, in a brand that isn't already established, that is very new. So again, you're giving me new names on a new brand, you're giving me too much new stuff at the same time, and I still have to get myself accustomed to it. Then you have something that I think was caused over the fact that they were in war each and every single week. Something that I think NXT also had a part in playing, and something I think that they also got hurt by. And that is trying to create shock value each and every single week. Which again, might not be intended for each and every single week, but overall, that's something that you want to do if you are competing against NXT or against any other show. You want shock value. You want to shock the fans. You want to give the fans a reason to tune in every single week. And I think that sometimes, shock value should come organically. It should not be try to be created. And when you try to create it, try to make it fake. I think that's something that hurt AEW and NXT in the long run. And now that the wars are over and AEW is on its own on Wednesday nights on TNT, again, this past Wednesday night, and we'll see what they do today. This past Wednesday night, they did 1.219 million viewers. So if they can just keep that 1 million viewers, hover in that 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 million viewers for the next year consistently, like TNA did back in the Spike TV era, if they can do that each and every week, and they can establish themselves as an alternative, and they can get as many guys over. And that's what they're doing right now. They've got so many stables. They got so many guys on TV, so many guys and girls on TV. They're trying to get them this attention from fans and trying to get them over. They are trying. That's what they got to do. They got to maintain their viewership. They got to get their guys over. They got to establish themselves as a true alternative to WWE. And I think they've taken those steps to do that. They've been around for over 2 years now. I think they've done a pretty good job at saying, hey, we're AEW, this is what we do, this is the guys we have, the guys we're building our company around of. Just stick around with us, and 5 years from now, we'll have our own loyal fan base that isn't just around to be like, oh, I'm part of the alternative and I'm anti-WWE, which is why I'm following AEW in the first place. No, 5 years from now, they should have a fan base that is strictly, I'm a fan of AEW because I love AEW and I love watching Dynamite, not because I hate WWE or any other company or because I fell off the WWE train. That's what AEW should focus on. And NXT on the other part, NXT, they had the right formula. They were the alternative before AEW. They were the revolution against Raw and against SmackDown, and they proved it in 2019, and they proved it in the years prior. If you were a fan of NXT, you were a fan of the fact that the company that NXT was, and that the way that they defined themselves wasn't that they were WWE's developmental brand. They were just, okay, you got Raw, you got SmackDown. You can pick and choose from either of those shows. They're pretty much paint by the numbers. Raw is the larger than life. SmackDown is a wrestling show. We're giving you a mix, and at the same time, we're preparing you for the stars that are going to be appearing on Raw and SmackDown in the coming years. That's who we are. You can watch Raw and you can watch SmackDown and you can watch the main roster pay-per-views and you can get 10 to 15 minute matches that are okay, that are satisfactory, that are, yeah. I got my wrestling fix. I'm good. But you can take a look at NXT. Yes, we're developmental. Yes, we're the third brand. But if you watch our shows, if you watch our takeover events, you are going to get some bell-to-bell action that you have never seen anywhere else. And that's something that NXT, I think, fell out of simply because they wanted the shock value and they were in the war with AEW. And another thing that didn't help, again, I've kept saying this ever since I launched this YouTube channel. NXT, no matter how you put it, has always been perceived as developmental because it is developmental. I liked the 2019 push that they did for NXT, where they pushed them as a third brand and they actually had NXT win the wars against Raw and SmackDown on pay-per-view at Survivor Series. I loved that. I truly did. But much like a lot of things in WWE, it was stop and go. They pushed NXT as the alternative brand in WWE, and then it was gone. They just went back to being developmental, and I think that hurt them a lot against AEW, and that's something WWE just did not really care about. At that point, I just realized, yeah, WWE just placed NXT right there on Wednesday nights just to take viewership away from AEW. And, that's not cool. That's not cool. That's something that WCW did back in the Monday Night Wars for WWF, and WWE wasn't okay with that. So, hey, karma's a bitch. We'll give it another try later on. Again, shock value, never the third brand. But now, NXT has a chance to reset developmental. We got that last week. It felt a lot more like the old NXT before AEW showed up, before they tried to compete with AEW, before the Wednesday Night Wars. It felt more like, yeah, it's slow, it's building, we're being introduced to all these characters that aren't necessarily over, but this is the point of this brand. They are giving us these characters for us to sink our teeth into, and these matches and these moments to really digest in a very slow manner. And that's how it should be, because if you're not going to push NXT as the third brand, as a brand equal to Raw and equal to SmackDown, if you're not going to do that, then just let it be its own thing. And that's, I think, something that they gotta do. But frankly, just to bookend this video, again, main goal for AEW and NXT at this point in time, now that they have their own nights to deal with, is they've got to maintain viewership. They've got to just build up their own fan base and try to keep them loyal. And us as wrestling fans, we just get to enjoy and watch both shows finally. Again, happy that the Wednesday Night Wars happened, thrilled that they're over, and now we can just enjoy wrestling at this point. And frankly, the IWC should just be happy that this war happened and that now it's over. And yeah. Those are my thoughts. Again, those are my thoughts on the AEW versus NXT war. I understand. I rambled. I tend to ramble when I have a lot of things in my mind that I said in my past video, I'm not the best communicator. I'm trying to get there. I will get there. But for right now, I think I got some point across in the fact that it's over. Let's watch some great professional wrestling. So I've been Alexis Carrillo. Hopefully you got the gist of this video. Hopefully you stuck around for the entirety of this video. And, just tune in every Tuesday night to NXT. Tune in every Wednesday night to Dynamite. And just support wrestling all around, as a wrestling fan should be doing each and every single week, each and every single day, frankly. So that's been it for me. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.